Hey my people, how you doing? I hope you're having a damn good day. Welcome back. We are doing the Wolverhampton Wanderers 4-3-3 system under Bruno Lage. Of course, we have gone ahead and made Bruno Lage for FIFA 22. So if you'd like to, hit the link over there. And maybe, just so maybe, you might want to go ahead and create them and hopefully use these tactics as well. So, of course, here we have it, the 4-3-3. We've got Pedro Neto, Raul Jimenez, Podence leading the front line. We've got a brilliant midfield three here of Matinho, who's aged like fine wine, Ruben Neves, who is an absolutely immaculate CDM, and as well as the new signing, Mateus Nunes, who was linked with Liverpool, was linked with an assortment of different clubs around Europe, but he ultimately chose Wolves, aka Portugal Light, aka Club Portugal, I don't know. I genuinely don't know anymore. And of course, then we've got Smedo, Collins, Kilman, and Ait Nori leading the defensive departments with Jose Sa in goal. There we go. And then on the bench, we've got Guedes, Kalidasic, I think that's how you pronounce it. Traore, Dendonka, Rudy, Johnny, who's a left back, Bowley, and then of course we've got He Chang on the bench. Chan on the bench, my bad. Campbell, a few other great players like Chiquino as well, Gomez of course. But this is more or less the team. So yeah. In terms of tactics, press after loss of possession, width is going to be a good 65 and depth is going to be 55. Of course, Wolves, when they play in real life, their centre-backs don't get too high up the pitch, but they do maintain a decent gap between themselves, the goalkeeper, and of course the halfway line. You want width in this team because, of course, you're no longer playing a back five, which means that the width is going to be there for the wing-backs slash fullbacks more or less. So you want them getting out to their defensive assignments a bit better, so 65 is a decent amount. And of course, press after loss of possession is necessary because Wolves, they play a very good pressing game. Bruno Lage very much into the idea of maintaining the ball, but as well as when you don't have the ball, you get it back as fast as possible. A lot of managers these days are essentially going for that style of play. Okay, in terms of offense, build-up play, we have it on balance because Wolves, they can counter-attack you very well along the wings with Podence and Neto. Very good. Of course, Jimenez up front, lethal as ever. But then at the same time, under Lage, they do try and attempt to play a more position-based style. So having it on balance does achieve that goal a bit better. As for chance creation, of course, you are always looking to get the ball into your forwards, Neto, Podence, and Jimenez, or Guedes, or Traore, or Juan Lee Chan, whoever is in your front line. Try and get the ball to them as much as possible. They will be making more direct runs into the box, as you'll see with the instructions that we give the specific forwards. But yes, more or less, forward runs is the key to scoring goals in this team. As for width, 60, it's more or less an average width. You want to have a more balanced approach. You have a very good midfield three, so going through the middle is not always the worst thing, but as well as maintaining your width in the team at 60 is decent because then you have players like Neto and Podence getting more involved in the game, firing crosses into the box for the likes of Jimenez or Nunes to header home, fire home, volley home, whoever you want to do at home, as long as they're scoring the goals at the end of the day. As for players in the box, we've got it set on 5. Again, Wolves, they aren't going to dominate every team, so having a few players behind the ball is necessary. Jimenez is a very lethal threat in the air, and as well as Nunes could be a very lethal threat in the box. Corner kicks as well as free kicks both sit on 3. Like I said earlier, you don't want to overcommit too many players, otherwise it could end up very bad for you and your team. As for the instructions though, of course, we've got Jose Sa set on as a sweeper keeper. Comes for crosses, of course. That is more or less the standard procedure when it comes to the modern day football. You have to have a decent goalkeeper when trying to play from the back. You have to have a decent goalkeeper when trying to have a high line, and that is what Wolves have under Jose Sa. As for Kilman and Collins, I have Kilman sit here on join the attack, of course. I don't know if anybody else has seen, but during the preseason, Kilman scored a miraculous goal because he took the ball off the goalkeeper essentially, ran through the entire opposition and then scored an amazing goal. And getting him a bit more involved offensively does tend to help. So Kilman, especially against the smaller teams that aren't going to attack you as much, maybe the Bournemouths or the Norwiches or whoever, this could be a very vital tactic. Against the bigger teams, of course, you can just have that set to stay back. But Kilman joined the attack. As for our fullbacks, we have both of them set on join the attack and overlap, as you can see right here, both for Semedo and Aitonori. You can even throw Johnny in as the left back or the right back, because he is right-footed. I only found that out the other day. He's a right-footed left wing back, which is a bit weird, but he can play either side, which is a great option to have off the bench, because if either Semedo or Nori get into trouble or in terms of fouling, or if they just aren't good enough for the day, you have a good replacement on your bench. Moving on though, as to your defense, or your defensive midfield I should say, Neves, one of the best around in the Premier League, one of the best in the world essentially, but Neves is your CDM. I have him set on cut passing lane, stay back when attacking. Of course he's got that lethal long range bomb shot on him. I don't even know how you would say it, but brilliant from long range with his shooting. He just hits the ball so sweetly. Anyway, moving on though, defensive position is set to stay on cover center, because you don't really want him moving too far around. You want him to take the ball off the back four and spray passes to your wingers or your midfielders or whoever, and having him cover the center defensively as well is a very smart thing to do. As for your roaming midfielders, some might say your center midfielders, on the left you have Moutinho, who I've got kind of more or less on just balanced, and then stay on the edge of the box. That is the way to go. Moving on though to Mateus Nunes, we've got him as get into the box. Get into the box is very lethal. Against Spurs, he almost scored a goal the other day. He had somebody crossed the ball in, and he had a brilliant chance to header it home and missed very narrowly. So I saw that and I was like, okay, maybe he's got a bit more license to get into the box, attack, and so that's why I thought for him getting into the box makes sense, as well as aggressive interception. So he'll be slightly high up the field, trying to win the ball back for the front three. And it just makes life a lot easier if you have a midfielder who can do that. He is also set on free roam, so he'll be available for more passes from either Moutinho or Neves, and it just allows him a bit more freedom in the midfield, maybe to not be as locked down to his one position, and maybe have a bit more free roam between the attack and the midfield. He can link the two very nicely. Moving on though, our striker, of course, Jimenez has been lethal, has been fundamental for Wolves over like the last few years that he's been there. Helped them gain promotion a few years ago, and has been a very prominent figure in their team. Of course, missing a season or so a few seasons ago with a very bad head injury. But of course, Jimenez, we've got him set on stay central. And of course, he is a very quick striker, so having him as a target man would be the most ideal, but then you don't get the best out of his attacking outlay of the ability to run in behind. So it just makes sense to have a stay kind of on mixed. And of course, stay forward. Here's your focal points for counter-attacks. Here's your focal points in terms of your attack. He is the very tip of the spear, and a very dangerous spear nonetheless. As for your wingers, both sit on the same, come back on defense for both, as well as get into the box. You want Neto and Podence getting into the box, exchanging passes with your midfield, as well as firing in back post crosses and so on. So yeah, that is our tactics, our Wolverhampton Wanderers 4-3-3 Bruno Lage tactics. Of course guys, I hope you have enjoyed this. If you have, smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, and I hope you guys have the most amazing damn day ever. I'm out.